from the Zoho Sign team, apart from me, there are Akhil and Wagi, who are the code development code developers for the Zoho Sign product. So if you have any questions, you could just raise it on the question answer tab, and our folks will be more than happy to help you out. So, as I was saying, this is the agenda that we have for this session. And so let me just, further let me go to the first topic. So right now, we have started seeing companies digitally transform their paperwork, but there are still some domains or some departments where the need for a pen and paper approach is still being followed. And the companies where the digital transformation is happening, one certain point where they have a bit of struggle is the follow payment that needs to be paid to them. As in, let's say there's a sales contract. So you need to get a token advance once the signature is done. So the signature process gets done, but collecting a payment, it's a to and fro process between the two both parties. So with Zoho Sign, what we offer is you can collect payments, verify your recipients, and get your documents signed all in the same workflow. So not just that. So as the name suggests, ZoSign will help you to send, sign, and manage your documents literally from anywhere at any given point of time. So apart from that, we also provide different methods to authenticate your signers. For instance, you could have an email or SMS OTP. So I guess most of the attendees are from the Indian region. So let's say you could have your signers authenticated with the Aadhaar card or e-mudra, or if you have a cross-border signature signing process happening. So let's say if you have your recipients from Singapore, we have integrated with Sign with SingPass, or if you have clients in the US, we also offer dynamic knowledge-based authentication, so through a third-party provider. At the same time, let's say you have your own digital signature certificate, so you could have them in a USB token and get your documents signed in a more seamless manner. So, like I was saying earlier, right now, if you take any business model, it doesn't get constricted within a particular region. So, you may have your clients or a business deal from across the region. So, when it comes to deal or when it comes to a signature, it is imperative that that particular signed document complies with both the country's laws. So, as you can see here, so ZoSign is compliant under the PIPED for the Canada region, ESN Act for the United States, EIDAS for the European Union, ACTA for the African continent, Information Technology Act 2000 for India, and the Electronic Transaction Act for the Southeast Asian countries. Not just that, we also comply with HIPAA, FDS 21 CFR Part 11, and EU Annexure GMP 11. So, if you're someone from the life science industries and you want to get some documents signed, yes, we are compliant under those regulations as well. So, when it comes to offering the service, we don't restrict ourselves with the web service application. We also offer our service across native applications. So, this will be helpful. Let's say if you take a iOS application, you could just scan the document and upload it, have it in draft, and continue the document workflow through a web service as well. So, it's that seamless and that easy to do. And once that's done, so as I was saying earlier, so I won't say this is the final list, but these are some of the popular departments where Zoho Sign has been put up to a greater use by our customers. So let's say it's a procurement order or an onboarding order for your HR firms, or let's say there's a customer onboarding, or you want some service agreements between two dealers to happen. So where, in short, wherever there is a paperwork involved, you could use Zoho Sign and minimize and the overall turnaround time and improve the efficiency. And to put it in a better way, Zoho Sign integrates with almost all Zoho applications, be it our flagship CRM or the Zoho CRM or Zoho Mail, the Finance Suite, or Zoho Work Drive. And we don't restrict only with Zoho applications. We also readily integrate with other third-party popular applications like the Microsoft 365, Outlook, Google Drive, Dropbox, and much more. So just give me a second. So what I'll do is I'll just give you a brief walkthrough about a product's UI, and I'll show you how sending an envelope works on the sender side, as well as how does it look on the recipient end as well. So this is the Zoho Signs dashboard. So on the left, we have the navigation pane. So over here, this is the home that brings you right to the dashboard again. So this is the documents tab where all the documents that you have sent out for signature, that you have received for signature, those are in progress, or if you have scheduled anything, or it's been declined by your recipients, you could go and check under each particular tab to check if there are any particular documents. Then the next one is templates. So let's say you have a document that you use frequently, like a onboarding application or a social media policy. So what you could do is you could just have it converted into a template and reuse it whenever needed. The next one is sign forms. So let's say you work for a HR firm and there's an employee onboarding happening, and you want to get signed from all the new employees who have just joined that particular day. So instead of sending out the document to each particular recipient, you could just share that the document's URL in the notice board or via chat, and they could just click that particular URL and access that particular document. And the next comes report. Report is similar to the document status. So let's say you want to check how many documents, the completed documents were sent for a given particular time period. So you could just click here and you could see a complete stats for the last 30 days or for last 7 days. So you get the gist. It's not just for the UI thing. So let's say once you start using the APIs, you could also this dashboard will give you, what call was put up, what was the status, who had sent it, and when was it done. So this, and on the right, let's say you're gonna start using our product and you are stuck at any given point of time. So this little question mark over here opens up the help doc. So let's say you are in the templates page and you get stuck. So what happens is the relevant help document gets opened up. So you not even go out a new tab, switch type for the particular feature and check out what help document that is. So now let me just show you how to send an envelope for signature. So like I was saying earlier, if you have integrated Zoho Sign with one of these cloud service providers, you could directly upload the document from that particular cloud service provider, or else you could drag and drop or use this method that I'm showing right now. So I've just added a recipient. And another key factor here is, let's say you have 300 or 400 recipients or a bulk bunch of recipients to whom you have to send out a document at in one single shot. So you could use this particular feature called bulk recipient. So at present we support up to adding 1,000 recipients in one particular CSV file. And next comes the signing action. These are the four signing actions that we support in Zoho Sign. And let's say you have a customer who may or may not check their email at a regular basis, but they have to sign a document. At that instance, you could use this email plus SMS. So what happens is, once you choose this, you will add their phone number here. So the document signing link gets sent both to their email inbox as well as to the SMS. So apart from this, so if you want to customize or add any more settings on a recipient level, you could do it over here. So the private notice, let's say there are 10 recipients, but you want to say, or you want to, pass on an information intended to one particular recipient alone, you could have that added over here. So the next comes the authentication type that I was saying earlier. So you could use email OTP or SMS OTP. So again, for the SMS OTP, you'll add the phone number. So what happens is, once an OTP or authentication method is being implemented, once they pass or they verify themselves as the recipient, only then they will be able to view the document. And the next one is the email and interface language. So let's say your signer or your recipient isn't a native English speaker, but they are of some other origin and you want to change the language according to their preference. So yes, you could have that changed here as well. But what happens is, This changes only the interface on the email request language alone. This won't touch the content, the language of the content that's present in the document. So as I was saying earlier, we have integrated with several trust service providers like Swisscom, Trust Factory, Infosys, Sign with SingPass, Aadhaar eSign, eMudra based on our regions. So if you want to enforce your signers to or recipients to sign only to one of those integrated trust service providers, just click select providers and choose the particular thing alone. So what happens is, let's say I choose only SigPass over here. So if I have it in this way, so it will show you this is the way through which your recipient should be signing. So right now I just have it this way. So I have, all right. So this is the document viewer page. So on the left, we have the thumbnail of the document. So on the right, you will see the list of all the recipients that you have added to that particular envelope request. And below are the document fields. So just let me add a couple of fields. So full name, and let's say you want to add some fields of on your behalf. So we have an option called pre-fill by you. So the signature gets auto-populated from the profile settings. And one key thing that you can that might be helpful for you is, let's say you and your recipient work at two different time zones. So you want this particular envelope to land on their inbox at the particular, at a given time that you prefer. So what you can do is just click this small arrow over here that and click send data. So you will choose the date, you choose the time, and then you choose the relevant time zone, and then you hit schedule and send. So what happens is similar to how scheduling works in our email. So the same happens here, and the this particular email request will go to them only at that given point of time. So let me hit send, confirm. So here you can see the current status of this particular document and all the, if there are, let's say, 5 or 6 recipients, they get listed over here. And if it's the send in order, so once this first recipient finishes signing the document, the link goes to the second document and so forth. So just a second, I'll just show you how the recipient end works as well. So as I was saying earlier, this is the signature request email template. So when you choose a different language, this complete content gets translated to that given language. So as you can see here, this was the content that I had added under private notes. So that gets listed over here. And if you have a common note to all your recipients, you could have it under note to all, and that comes over here. So I click start signing. Once I click proceed to signing. So yeah, this is the recipient's part of Zoho Sign. So you could see there will be a legal disclosure. So this is a default legal disclosure. However, if your own brand or if your own company has a certain legal disclosure with much more in-depth legal clauses, you could have it edited. The admin can edit it, and you could have that attached over here. So I have agreed to the terms and conditions. So over here in the more actions, we have this print and physically sign. So what happens is, let's say there are 3 recipients, and the second recipient is someone who's reluctant to sign using Zoho Sign in the e-signature workflow, but he wishes to upload a wet paper where he has signed the document. In that case, what that particular recipient has to do is he can just click print and physically sign, download the document, upload the signed copy, and click finish. So what happens is the sender gets, he or she will review the document and they will approve it. So over here, now what I do is I sign the document, so and I finish it. That's it. So it's as simple as this. And if you check the sender's window again, so you can see, yes, the document has, since there was only one particular recipient, the document has been signed. And one more thing, you can see the activity history. So this activity history will capture the moment this document was uploaded till the moment all your recipients have, signed the document. And if you want, you could have it exported in a CSV format as well. And please ensure that this activity history cannot be modified or deleted even by the accounts administrators. And one more thing is we have a completion certificate. So this completion certificate will capture information as in when was this document emailed, when was it viewed, was there any authentication type that was implemented, what was the signing order, and not just that, we will also be adding the legal disclosure that we saw on the recipient's end. Even that will be added, at the end of the completion certificate. So this is very much the gist of what Zoho Sign is all about, and what Zoho Sign, how Zoho Sign can help your business. So I'll just pass on the session to Akhil, and what he will walk you through is the same features and functionalities that I just showed on our UI, on the web UI, how you could achieve that and how you could have it embedded into your application through the APIs. So over to you, Akhil.
So I'll quickly walk you through the agenda which I'll be talking about today. So the first thing which we'll be looking at is how to get started with Zoho Sign API. So here we'll be including how to generate access tokens and reference tokens and like different types of tokens to get started with API, and how you can make your first API call. And next up, we have managing documents in Zoho Sign. So how you can create and send a document signature request using API. So and then how you can manage that, like some actions like recalling or reminding recipients, etc. All that can be done via API. So we'll just have a look through those APIs. And next to that, we have how to manage templates from Zosign APIs. So you can have some predefined templates created in Zosign, and if you want to send them out for signature using Zosign template APIs, you can do that by dynamically changing recipient details and etc. And next to that, we have some interesting features in Zosign called embedded signing and embedded sending, where we'd be giving you a provision to embed our web page, embed our signing page, or embed our web page within your own website, so that the user who is viewing the viewing your web page wouldn't feel like it is some third party website or third party vendor you're using, just to feel like a user is in a user is having a seamless experience. And finally, we'd be having a discussion on what type of SDKs Zoho Sign has to offer, and how they can help you out to achieve your use cases. So I'll just get started with the first one. So this is the Zoho Sign dashboard. So once you come to the dashboard, you can just hover onto settings and go to developer settings. Here you can find two sections of API tokens called development and deployment. So there are two ways of generating an access token to authorize yourself while making an API call. So the first way is to create a temporary token that is just valid for 1 hour and use that for API calls. So this method can be used for like if you just want to test out some 1 to 2 APIs within 1 hour, you can just generate a sample token and then use it out for testing out our APIs. So for this to generate, you can just visit the API token development and click generate. So once you click generate, a temporary access token would get generated, and you can just copy it and use it for next 60 minutes. So this is just like more like a ad hoc token which you can use for instant use cases. And next up, we have API token for deployment purposes. Let's say you've tested out our APIs and you'd like to deploy Zosign integration within your application. You can get started with token development using our deployment process. So you can just click get started, and you'd be given with the steps on how to generate the token from uh, right from the start. So the first step is to visit apiconsole.zoho.com and then create a client there. So I'll just explain you how the process would look like. So the first step is you'd have to generate a client type. You have to choose a client type for your uh, application. You can we do support multiple client types, like based on your application use cases. We do support multiple clients, like client based applications, server based applications, mobile based, and non browser based, etc. So once you create a client type, you'd be given with client ID and client secret. So using these, you'd have to generate a refresh token with that. So once you generate a refresh token, you would have to generate an access token using that particular refresh token. So the generation of access token is after the generation of refresh token. The refresh token generation process is only once. So once you generate a refresh token, it is valid for forever, to be forever, and it would be accessible for you, and it would be working until unless you revoke the refresh token. So we'll just go through the process. I'm just creating a self client which can be used anywhere in any type of application. So I'm just creating a self client. Once a self client is created, you'd be given with client ID and client secret, as I've said. So to generate a refresh token, you can just copy client ID and client secrets and paste in our step 2 of our website. And next is you have to paste a code. So you have to generate a code to generate a refresh token. So code here, in the sense, it would define the access level of access to the APIs, to Zoho Sign APIs. We do support multiple APIs, like document management APIs and template management APIs, etc. So you have to define some scope for generation of refresh token. So that the tokens, the access tokens that are generated using refresh token would only be able to access the scope which you have given while generating the code. So for now, I'll just use a scope for both documents and templates. Here you can find the generate code section. If you want to add multiple scopes, you can just add them using comma separated. So I'm just filling in the scope description. So once you click create, you'll be given a code. Just give me a minute. There seems to be some issue going on. So on the scope, I'll just so if you can see, you can find the scope, code which that is generated from here, and just copy the code and paste it in the third box of Zoho Sign. And once you click generate refresh token, you'd be given a refresh token. So as I've said, this is valid forever, and unless you revoke it, this refresh token is valid forever. So now you've gotten the refresh token, and the final step is to get the access token using the refresh token. So to generate the access token, you can just make this particular API call, which we have mentioned below. Just copy the URL. We'll go to Postman. So if if any of you are new to Postman, this is just an API tool where you can make a bunch of APIs. Like you can specify the method of API and then make the API call for free. So here so this particular API requires to be made in a post method. So I changed the method to post, and you can see there are 3 fields that have to be filled in: refresh token, client ID, and client secret. You can find the refresh token anytime by visiting this page. You can just copy the refresh token, and client ID, client secret, you can just come to apiconsole.zoho.com, and you can always find client ID and client secret in this page. So I'll just paste those. So once you've pasted all those values, you can just click send, and you could see that I've received access token in the response of the API call. And you can even find the scope uh, till I mean what all APIs that can be used with this particular access token. You can just copy this access token and pass it in the authorization header while making Zoho Sign API call, and you could just authorize yourself for the API. So this is the other way of generating access token. And this this particular way of generating token would be useful while deploying your application, as I've said. So you can just make this particular API call and get the access token. Once you get the access token, you can use it for next 1 hour. So within an hour, you can just create another token if this particular token expires, and you can just create another token by making this particular API call again. So if you can see, I'm just making this API call again, and I got another access token. So in this way, you can make multiple API calls to this to the same API URL, and you can get the different access tokens. So once you got the access token, the next step is how to make your API call. So Zoho Sign also offers Postman collections. Uh, so where you need not study our API documentation to get the parameters and what type of parameters we do support and what are the API URLs and etc. We have created a collection in Postman where you can just fork the collection and then you start using the collection. So you can find out about Postman collection in our API documentation under Postman collection section. You can visit here, and from here, if you click Postman collection, you'd be taken to this collection in web page. You can just create a fork from for that using that collection, and then start using our APIs. So I've already forked those an API collection here. So this is how the collection would look like once it's forked. So these are the steps that you need to follow before setting up the Postman collection. The other advantage Postman collection has is, let's say you're exploring our APIs and you would be testing a bunch of different types of APIs from Zoho Sign. The testing can take 1 week or even more based on the level of integration you are integrating with Zoho Sign. So till then, instead of you making API calls to generate the access token for every 1 hour, we have configured a script in Postman collection so that so you just have to fill in all the values of client ID and client secret here. I'll just do that. Refresh token, and you can find client ID and client secret in API console. So once you fill in these values, you would also have to fill account URL and sign URL. So these are needed to make API call to the right domain. Zoho Sign is supported in multiple data centers. So we have multiple data centers in US and EU and IN, etc. So this particular account, the current account which I'm using is from USDC. You can find out the domain by visiting Zoho Sign and by viewing the domain of our web page. So here it says sign.zoho.com. So you can just copy that domain and paste it here. The same way, the same domain goes to account URL too. So if it says sign.zoho.com here, it would be accounts.zoho.com here. For other DCs, the domain would differ. It would be sign.zoho.eu, accounts.zoho.eu, etc. So since you've filled in all the values, you can just click save. So the document have been saved, and so we'll just test out our first API using the collection. So I'm just calling an API to get the list of all documents that are available in my current account. So this is the API which that you should make, and it should be a get call. So if you can see, I didn't even set the authorization for this particular API call. I'll just click send. You have received a 200 OK response with the response that is received from Zoho Sign. So in this is where the Postman collection would be very useful while testing out our APIs. I haven't even configured the authorization here, and it automatically inherited the authorization from the parent, and then the parent, in the sense, the script which we have embedded in this, and it automatically generates a refreshed access token and pass it to the Zoho Sign API, and you'd be getting a success response. And no matter 1 hour or 2 hours passes, we'll just keep track of the last generated time of the access token, and then we'll be generating new access tokens automatically instead of any manual intervention. So that's it. I mean, that is how you can set up your Postman collections. And let's dive into document management APIs. So as you have seen in the live demo of Zoho Sign UI, to send a document out for signature, you need to follow these three steps. The first step is to upload a document, and second step is to add recipients and fields to that particular envelope, and then third step is to send it out for signature. So all these steps you can achieve through API too. So if you can see, we do have APIs to create a document, update the document, and send the document out for signature. Here, document is referred as an envelope. So you can create an envelope using this particular API, and if you have any updates or if you'd like to add any fields or add any recipients, you can use update envelope API. And finally, send envelope out for signature. This API is used to send the document signature request to the recipients. So I'll just start with create document API. So here you would have to upload a file, upload a document for this particular envelope. So I've already chosen an NDA sample NDA file, and under the data section and under the parameter data, these are the parameters that are you could call these are the properties of the particular envelope here. And I've even added a single recipient for the signature request. So if you could visit our API documentation, you can find each and every parameter and its description, how you can use those, and the parameter structure, everything you can find in our API documentation. You can even expand this create document and find an example under here. If you click this, you can even find sample values, sample body values, which you need to fill in while making the API call. So I've just filled in some test values here. So here the request time specifies the name of the document signature request here, in the sense name of the envelope here. And actions specifies the number of recipients. I mean, action specifies the recipients you'd like to add to a particular envelope. So you can add multiple recipients to a single envelope, and that is the reason why it is given as an array, and each object represents a single recipient here. So I've just added a single recipient with name and email as these values. These are the parameters that you need to provide to add name and email. And the third parameter is action type. So we do support multiple action types, like let it be signer or approver or in-person signer or viewer. So based on these four action types, the value of the action type parameter would change. So I've just added this particular recipient as a signer, and then you can specify the signing order. Let's say you have 3 to 4 recipients in a document signature request. You have to add 4 of them here, and if you have any use case that only after the first recipient signs the document, the second recipient should be receiving the mail to sign the document, then you can specify the signing order of the first recipient as 1 and the subsequent recipients as 2, 3, 4. So signing order here, as the name implies, represents the order of the recipient signing, when the recipient has to sign the document. And next up, we have verify recipient parameter. Here, if you'd like to enforce any authentication for the recipient to view the document, to access the document, you can do so by setting this property as true. And once you set this as true, you would have to specify the verification type, how you would like to verify your recipient, like whether is it by email or is it by SMS. If you choose it as SMS, you would have to give the recipient for mobile number here as parameters. We have parameter support for that too. You can find the additional parameters in our API documentation. One of our teammates, Rajiv or Vagiswaran, will be sharing you the API documentation link in the meanwhile. And private notes here specifies the note which the note which is private to this particular recipient alone. So this particular private note is visible to only this recipient, and you can specify private notes to this recipient using this manner. And the next properties that are outside the actions are envelope properties. So the first parameter specifies the expiration days. As the name implies, it specifies when the envelope would expire than that which is not available for signing. So here 15 would be default number of days when an envelope would expire, and after 15 days the recipient, if the recipient didn't sign for 15 days, the document would get expired. And even if the recipient tries to access the document using the link he received via email, he wouldn't be able to access the document because it got expired. And the only way to access the document is either the sender has to extend the expiry date to a date which is available, which is feasible for the signer to sign, or else send a new signature request. And next parameter is we have is e-sequential. This specifies whether the the signing link to the recipient should be sent one by one, or sent to all recipients at a time. Let's say you have 2 to 3 recipients and you want all of them to if you'd say, I mean, the order of the signing, if it doesn't matter, you can just choose e-sequential as false. If you choose it this way, all of the recipients would be receiving the signing link at a time, and they can sign. Whichever signer can sign first, and then continue signing. And next parameter is email reminders. This specifies whether if you'd like the recipients to receive automatic email reminders from Zoho Sign. And if you choose it as true, and if you specify the reminder period as two or any number for every 2 days, in this case for every 2 days, an automatic email reminder from Zoho Sign would be sent to these recipients to sign the document. So these are the explanation for these parameters. I'll just click send. And that's it. You have received a 200 OK response from Zoho Sign. And if you have noticed, I haven't set authorization. I haven't manually entered the access token here at all. All of this is taken care by Postman, as I've said earlier. So here you can find the request status as draft. It specifies that a draft of the document or a draft of the envelope has been created with the values that you have given in. You can even cross-check the values whether those got reflected in the document or not. So the request name says sample request name, and you can even find the actions. These are the recipient details which I've just added. You can find recipient email and recipient name. All of those are correct, and once you receive this, we'll be giving you some IDs to identify particular entities in a signature request. So those IDs include request ID, action ID, document ID, field IDs if it has field. So request ID specifies I would say it is unique to each particular document signature request. So each envelope would be having a unique request ID, and to identify or to manage or to make any action to particular envelope, you would have to provide the request ID. So you can just find the request ID by searching for request underscore ID. So this is the request ID that is unique to this particular document signature request. So if you'd like to make changes to this document, or if you'd like to send this out for signature, you would be needing this request ID. So just copy this request ID and we'll go to send it out for signature. So here in the URL itself, you can find a placeholder for request ID. In the API URL itself, just paste the copied request ID in the parameters for that. And once you have added the request ID, here if you could see, we've done uploading in 3 steps. We've done uploading a document and then adding recipient. The next step is adding fields to that recipient and then sending it out for signature. So you can add fields to a recipient either by using update document or update envelope API, or even using the send document for signature API. So you can add fields in either of the APIs. Since it reduces the use of one API, you can just use this submit API to add fields. So to add a field in the document, you would have to specify to which recipient the field has to be added, and at which location the field has to be added, and in which document the field has to be added. All these properties you have to specify using our fields JSON object. You have to specify all these inside fields JSON object. So this is a sample payload structure to add a field to a recipient. Here I'm trying to add a text field with a field label that says address, and for this particular action ID, that means for this particular recipient, inside a document with the document ID. You can even find the document ID in the response. Since Zoho Sign supports uploading of multiple documents in a single envelope, each document would be having a different ID, and you would have to specify document ID where the field has to be added. And next up, we have specifying the page number. So where you would like to add a field in a page in the document. So Zoho follows zeroth index for page number. So 0 represents the first page here. So I'm planning to add a field at the first page at this particular location. So this is the location, how you can, I mean, this is how you specify the location for a field. You have to specify the coordinates of X and Y, and then the width and height of the field. So I'll be pasting action ID, and I have to paste the document ID again. So you can find, just by searching the values, you can find all those values in the response of the first API call. So I've just added the document. So everything's fine. I'll just click send, and you got the response, success response from Zoho Sign, and the request status says in progress. So this specifies that the recipient details which you have specified in the envelope would have received the document signature request to sign the document. You would have already seen the signing experience in the previous demo, so I'm not going to do that again. So you can cross-check the values or cross-check the fields that you have added for this particular document signature request in this particular response. So here, actions, you can find the recipient name and email, and inside actions, you'll be finding fields. And inside fields, these are the values which we have just given. So X coordinate and Y coordinate, and field category is a text field, and field label would say address, and document ID and document action ID and page number and all. So you can just cross verify this if you'd like. And you can even find other parameters like how the delivery is made to the recipient, like whether it is by email or email plus SMS. We even support SMS delivery of document signature request, so they can sign the document just by clicking the link they receive from the SMS. And you can even find the action status that says unopened. So the document signature has been sent to the recipient, and he's still yet to open the document. So once the document is sent out, the next course of action is to manage the document that is sent out. So we do support multiple APIs to manage the document signature request. Those would be recalling a document. So let's say there are some errors in the document that you have created, or let's say you have sent it to some unintended recipient or stuff. You can just recall the document by making use of this API. And even if the signer receives the signature link before, he once you recall the document, he wouldn't be able to access the document using the link that is sent earlier. And next, we have a remind recipient. So let's say you'd like to send a manual reminder to the recipient to sign the document again. I mean, to sign the document, just to remind him, you can make use of this API to send the document, to send the reminder again. And next, we have a delete document. This is this is just to delete the document signature request using this API. And we even support creating a new folder or creating a document type. So let's say if you have any need for segregation of documents, like if you'd like to segregate some particular documents in any folder, you can just create a folder and then pass that particular folder name or folder ID while making the create document API call. In the same way, you can even use document types. If you have different types of documents, you can just create multiple document types and specify that particular document type name while making this API call. And next up, we have extending document expiry. As I've said earlier, if the recipient doesn't sign the document within the stipulated time that is given to him, and if you'd like to extend the expiry of the document to extend this expiry to some feasible date so that the signer can sign the document, you can make use of this API to extend it. And that's it. These are the APIs, a bunch of APIs which we do support for document management. We do support templates in Zoho Sign. If you have any predefined documents, instead of uploading the same document and adding same fields again, you can create a template in Zoho Sign and proceed and send it out for signature without doing all the steps that are done earlier. So you can create a template and add fields and add recipients without any metadata. Like in the sense, you need not give in recipient name and recipient email to create a template. So once you create a template and save it, you can send it out for signature using this particular send template out for signature using this API. So here you can specify the recipients dynamically and then send it out for signature. So let's say I already have a template created in Zoho Sign, and the template creation process, you can see if it is like if you have just a minimal number of templates, you can just create them in our UI directly, because it is much easier compared to APIs. So you can just create a template here and then proceed with the API of sending it out for signature. So I just have a template here. So this is the template which I would like to send it out for signature. To know what is the parameter or what is the JSON structure which you need to use for sending a template. I mean, for a particular template, you can go to developer settings, and under developer settings, you can find something called as template details. And under template details, you can find the list of templates that are available in your account and choose the template which you would like to send it out for signature. So you can find the sample JSON structure which you need to pass to send this particular template out for signature, and you can even find the API you have to use to send it out for signature. So the only value which you need here is the template ID. You have to specify the template ID to send it out for signature. So I have just copied the template ID, and this is the sample structure here. If you could see, the recipient name and recipient emails are empty, so that you can just fill in dynamic values and send it out for signature. So I'm just filling in sample values. And we even support pre-fill fields. So you can fill them in before sending this particular template out for signature. You can just give the values in this way here. If you already know the values, you can just fill in using this particular structure. So all the values that are being filled in here would be reflected in the document, and it would be sent out for signature, and they would look like they are part of the document. So I've just copied the values from there and pasted it here. And if you just click send, the template which that is created in our UI would have been sent out for signature with just a single API call. Here you haven't uploaded a document, you haven't specified a field where the recipient has to sign and etc. You used with just a single API, you just send out a document out for signature. This would be useful for documents like offer letters or NDAs, etc. So this is pretty much of template management APIs. And so next we have some, as I've said, some interesting features. So let's say you have a use case where the signer is the recipient is visiting your website, and maybe he's filling out some form and stuff. And once that is done, if you would like the recipient to sign a document before going anywhere, instead of you using our normal workflow where you have to where you can make the API call, and we'll be sending a document signature request email to the recipient, and the recipient has to go to his mailbox and click on the signing link to start signing, which does not set it. I mean, which wouldn't be useful for this particular use case. To achieve this, we have supported embedded signing. So with this, you can send a document out for signature by specifying another parameter called is embedded. If you specify this, I mean, the document sender himself can get the signing URL of the document and load the signing URL within your own website, so that the signer doesn't have to go out and sign the document. So I've just built a sample web page. This is a use case where the doctor would be filling in a prescription, and I would like to sign it and send this prescription to the patient. So here he's just filling in the sample values, and once the doctor clicks submit, in the backend we'd be making API call to generate the signing URL. and we'd be getting the signing URL, and we load that particular signing URL in the same web page in an iframe. If you could see, the signing URL is loaded and the signing page has been opened without the signer is going, without the signer going to outside of, go to mailbox and sign. So this would be useful for, and if you could see, the values which are just filled in there are pre-filled here. This is for, this is a typical pre-fill fields use case. So you can just add the signature and sign the document. So once you sign the document, you would be redirected to the default page. You can even set up custom redirection pages. Whether if the document has been signed, you can ask the you can specify this signer has to be redirected to a specific URL. You can do that by passing additional parameters. You can again find all the parameter structure in our API documentation. And next up, we have embedded sending. Let's say you have a document that changes its structure dynamically. So you wouldn't know where to add fields every time, because the fields that are added in the document would be changing and changing its location every time. In those type of use cases, you can embed our document sending UI within your own UI, so that you can send it out for signature, send document out for signature without using API. So I'll just click embed here. So once an embed is clicked using an access token, if you specify an API, or if you just make a open this particular URL in iframe, you can see that our web page has been loaded in this particular iframe, and you can just upload a document from here and add a sequence and click continue and add fields and stop and send it out for signature just by embedding our document UI within your own UI. So these would be useful for different types of use cases, and as if even this can be, the documentation for this can also be found in our API documentation. Next up, we have Zoho Sign SDKs. So all the APIs and all the parameter structure which I've explained would be a lot to study and then build APIs right from the start. So instead of doing all that, we do support SDKs where we'll be building all the an SDK for a particular language, and then we'll integrate all our APIs within that and give you some particular methods and functions which you can just call them to send the document for signature. So we do support multiple SDKs, like we have a Node.js SDK, we have a PHP SDK. In this, we have just we would have built-in functions, and you can just import the SDKs from our repository and then use those methods directly. And we also have mobile SDKs where which you can achieve embedded signing kind of experience using our mobile SDKs. So let's say you have a mobile application and you'd want the signer to sign a document within your own mobile instead of within your own application, instead of going out of your application. You can make use of our mobile SDKs here. So the experience, if you use our mobile SDK, would be you'd be creating a document signature request and it would be sending it out for signature. And you can get something called as sign ID from the response of the API call. And using that sign ID, if you pass that sign ID to Zoho Sign SDK, we'd be loading the particular signing page, or I would say signing experience within your own application without the signer going back to the mailbox and sign the document. So once the document is signed, or if the document is failed, we'd be giving you some callbacks to process the subsequent steps. So this would be more like a seamless flow instead of the signer going out of your application and sign the document. So we do have a demo how this works. I'll just play a video how it would look like. So this is a loan application where he would fill in the type of loan which he would like, and once all the values are filled in, the signer is clicking for eKYC, and once that is clicked, a document that is sent out using API would be opened within your own application without he going back. So I'll just continue the video. So once that button is clicked, the document is opened and the signing page is opened within your own application here. So he's filling in the fields that are available. Choosing the signature, we do support multiple types of signature additions, like you can draw a signature, or you can upload a signature, or you can even take a picture of your signature and then sign it. So once you click finish, we'd be sending you a call. Our SDK would be sending you a callback, and you can handle the callback accordingly.
Thank you, Akira. I guess this might have given a bigger picture or a better picture on what Zoho Sign API can offer for the business. So yeah, we are almost at the end of the session. So one more key factor that Zoho Sign offers is, let's say you have a business and you use an application and you are looking for a custom integration with Zoho Sign, or let's say you want a white labeled IP address, as in when your recipient opens the document, instead of being sign.zoho.com or sign.zoho.co.in, you want it to be sign.yourbrandname.com. Or let's say you have integrated with a CRM platform, a desk platform, and you're looking for an e-signature application, then yes, we do check all these check boxes. And if you have such business case, you could always drop us an email and we will take it forward from that. So at the beginning of the session, I had asked whether you're using any of our competitor, with QSign or Sign. So this is how we have placed our API model against our competitors. So I'll just leave this slide for a couple of seconds to go through the pricing model and what are all the features that's available. So, if you are looking for an furthermore in-depth one-on-one training in terms of deployment, or if you want to learn more about how good the APIs can be used, in that case, we do offer paid one-on-one training. So we have this link shared on the chat, as well as you'll be getting this recording. So whenever you see fit, you could always book a slot, and our trainers over here will ensure that all your questions and queries are being addressed. So this is what the homepage looks like. If you just go under developers, you could find the API guide. So the entire concept or the entire functionalities and features that were explained in this particular session, you could find it over here. You could find this is where you'll get about the token deployment, the document management, template management, embedded signing, embedded sending, and we also have our own Postman collections as well. So that's also available in this particular document. And let's say you are planning to try out our APIs. So in that case, what you could do is you could check out this particular part of the page. So uh, we have given the code that you could use. All you have to do is just add the parameter testing equal to true. So what happens is your documents gets a watermark that says powered by Zoho Sign for testing purpose only. So, and the documents signed with that particular watermark does not hold any legal authority whatsoever.